5 minutes and we're ready to roll.
No more
cool.
makeup.
Yeah, no more. We're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, Guillermo. I think we're covering a lot of ground out on stage. You know, you look at the technologies. We've spoken about data. You know, talk about cloud, hyper-convergence. You know, Cisco talking about the network intuitive. We've been talking about programmability. There's so many things that have changed, and the rate of change just gets faster.
Yeah.
So here's one for Cisco. You know, given you guys are leaders out there in the industry, truth or fiction, it is possible to predict what the future holds for digital infrastructure over the next 5 years. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, wow. So if you asked me 5 years ago,
would the world look like today?
What would the world look like today? We would have been, you know, somewhat close, but a bit off. And I think in the 5 years ahead, we're going to see a lot of new things. We talked about ERP. What does ERP in the cloud look like? What does that really look like mainstream? But what I always like to go back to is what are, you know, starting off with a set of principles. Where for me, I'm a network guy. So in Cisco, we're reinventing the network. So so network is the foundation to every digital business, I believe. But I think there's a set of principles behind that, which is, to me, starting with security. How do we think about making sure that our business is secure? That not just that we're allowing an environment or enabling an environment for modernizing applications, but I would like to call it futurizing applications.
But there's a really good example, because if you went back 5 years, you know, would you have predicted that security would be as dire a position as it is today, or would we have solved it? And I reckon if you'd gone back to most tech companies 5 years ago, they'd have said, we will solve most of these issues.
It wasn't a board level.
It's got worse, right?
It wasn't a board level conversation then.
So
today,
really
it is absolutely a board level conversation, and that's why I say that principle, you have to embed it at the very beginning. We used to start with this notion of, hey, shift security left in your business process. And now we're saying start left. So start left, futurize apps. But there's another principle here, which is around, we live in a multi-cloud world. And we know that it's just going to continue. We talked earlier about which computer do you reside on? Well, those computers are clouds, right?
So I hope you don't mind me using the quote, but I think it was Bill Gates that said that people tend to totally overestimate the rate of change in the short term, but also underestimated in the long term. And I think from a time point of view, I think that to me means that over 12 months, we probably tend to overestimate it, but over a 5-year period, we underestimate just how impactful these changes will be. You know, and I think if I look at what we're doing around that, I think the biggest change that we're going to see that is definitely in that 5-year horizon is how clients have to be involved in change and innovating and driving that change. You know, so Cisco have got DevNet. We're driving things like inner sourcing, which to us isn't just about how we actually co-create within multiple people all over the world within Dimension Data and with our partners. It's bringing the client into that. You know, so that to me is going to be the single biggest thing that's going to change over the next 5 years.
In fact, we've just we have these innovation centers around the world that we have established, and now we're calling them co-creation centers or co-innovation centers. We just launched one last week in Singapore, but being able to pull the clients or the customers into that, really thinking about design thinking from the very beginning.
Exactly.
And, you know, in our case, you know, why I'm taking a new role. You know, I've done this for 19 years, thinking about what we're doing inside of Cisco. Now, hey, we haven't figured it all out yet, but how do we take what we've learned, package that up to the extent possible, and provide a blueprint for customers or for even our partners.
So that's interesting, because as an ex-CIO, what you're saying over there is that actually our clients, who are actually the business units, the guys who own the business, are the people who are probably going to come up with the most interesting change. What we need to enable as the technologists in the room is create the platform to actually embrace that innovation and to bring it into it, right? It's not something that we build on our own.
Well, first, I don't like to call myself an ex-CIO because I do think that, you know, I'm an IT guy. I've been an IT guy my whole life, and I'll always have that in my blood. But it's like, how do we now, back to the original question is, the CIO adding value in the business. Or IT, the technology organization in the company, adding value to the business. If every business is digital, if every business has technology at the foundation, which group in the company knows that best? IT.
So, back to the original question. Have you got a crystal ball? Can you tell me what the future's going to look like in 25 years from now for digital infrastructure?
In 5 years or 25?
5 years. 25 years is impossible.
Now you're, I think if you can go back and set a set of principles, for us, security first, thinking about futurizing our applications, knowing that we're going to live in a multi-cloud world, and we spoke on this, data is the currency for how we accelerate our business, but also how we operationalize our own infrastructure. And if you can put yourself, think about those principles, and as the world becomes faster and more agile, is incorporate those principles as you go. Learn fast, learn often. I don't like to say fail fast, fail often, but learn fast, learn often. And really make sure that you, from a technology standpoint, are aligned with the business outcomes and that you understand how to secure your business.
And I think the reality is the rate of change is only getting bigger, right?
It's getting bigger.
It's getting
so
faster,
we
it's
just
getting
have
quicker.
to be
Today's
agile,
the slowest day.
Right? We just have to be agile and accommodate.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
Great.
Well, fantastic. Yeah.
Let's
really
go get him.
Let's go get him.
Now we have to go. All right.